Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink. It is time for some Path of Exile 2 discussion. Welcome to day 13 of Teaser Season for patches 0.3.0, the Third Edict expansion. If you're looking for day 12, guess what? There wasn't a day 12 video. That's right, we're only putting out videos when there's a bunch of news, and what I thought I would do is consolidate together a bunch of things. So today we are going to be covering day 12 reveals as well as day 13 reveals. Today we've got two important things. The first thing is the item filter information. Now, I want you to ask a question. If you were to pick 10,000 players at random across the whole Path of Exile 2 player base, are you one of the three in that 10,000 that are the most knowledgeable about item filters? If you are, congratulations! This Grinding Gear Games post is entirely for you. Get to studying it. There is a link down in the description below. If you're not, if you are not one of that 0.04% or so of the player base that really know everything there is to know about the way that item filters work, that customizes their own filter and potentially also provides filters for other players, if you're not in that section of the player base, then don't worry about this. This information is something that is a bit of a curiosity. It will tell you what new items are coming. It will tell you all of the names of the new stackable currencies. It will tell you the names of the new essences. It will tell you all sorts of things, including the names of the new support gems, which might actually be genuinely interesting. But ultimately, it's not information that's going to make a big difference to the way you play the game. That said, I'll put a link to it down in the description below so that if you are in that sub 0.1% category of people who make loot filters for other people, then this is going to be a big time benefit for you. However, if you are not in that category, then content creator, loot filter extraordinaire Neversink has put out a major update. I'm going to put a link to this down in the description below because this is much more important. This is something that pretty much everyone that is a Path of Exile 2 player should watch. Neversink has done some fantastic work, and what he's done is he's gone and made it so that his loot filter has low-level customizations towards particular weapon types that you select. So you can go along and say, hey, you know what? I want to make a two-handed mace build, and I just want a loot filter that is pretty strict in general, but that isn't very strict while I'm leveling when it comes to things that are useful for a two-handed mace warrior. If you want to do that, then Neversink has the tools for that. Link down in the description below to Neversink's video. Go and watch that. And honestly, when we get to the next video and there's the whole supporter streamer thing, Neversink is one of the people you should absolutely have in your mind when that comes up. So, the next piece of news is something related to free cosmetics. Free cosmetics are always fun. Everyone's characters in Path of Exile 2 tend to not look very appealing until you go out of your way to make them look appealing. Now you can do that by selective choice of the actual items you equip, or you can do that through the use of various cosmetics. And of course, the game is all focused around selling you cosmetics because that's their business model. Well, one of the things that's going to be available is a promo whereby if you help Grinding Gear Games advertise the game by watching it on Twitch and therefore pushing Path of Exile 2's category up the Twitch rankings, then they're willing to provide you with some free cosmetics in exchange for that. Is it a good deal? Well, yes, if you like the cosmetics you're going to get for free, and if you think they're rubbish, then it's a terrible deal. But that's ultimately up to your personal choice. So let's talk about what these promos are. The first category of these Twitch drops is the Clam Stash skin, which honestly, in my opinion, is the best of the lot, and the Helmet of the Abyssal, which is something that I probably won't end up using, but you might like it more than I do. In any case, you can get this one for free. All you need to do is watch 3 hours of watch time total across any stream that is in the Path of Exile 2 category on Twitch over the qualifying period. Now, if you're in America's PDT, then this is going to be from 1 PM on the 29th of August through to 5 AM on the 6th of September. And if you're in a different time zone, well, you can find out the exact details of that down in the description below by having a look at the actual Grinding Gear Games post. Week 2 has a similar promo, but this is for the Cape of the Abyssal. Personally, I could do without this, but maybe you'll like it more than I do. This one is going to be available from 5 AM on September 6 to 5 AM on September 13. And again, that is PDT, so shift it a little bit if you're in a different time zone like I am. I am 17 hours later than PDT. Now that's going to take 3 hours of watch time. But then after that, we have the interesting one. See, as someone that streams Path of Exile 2 a little bit, but primarily is focused on YouTube content, I have a reasonable sense as to what it is that Grinding Gear Games occasionally do that is genuinely beneficial to streamers. And every time Grinding Gear Games put out an event that is tailor-made for, let's say, the top 10% of the Path of Exile player base by skill level, or for that matter, the top 10% of the Path of Exile player base by hours played, which isn't necessarily exactly the same as the top 10% by skill level. There's a bit of overlap between those two groups, but it's not an absolute one-to-one mapping. But anytime Grinding Gear Games put on an event that's catered towards that upper echelon of players, there's a lot of comments that say, hey, this is just for the streamers. And it's kind of funny, as someone that streams this game a little bit, but isn't really what you would term a professional streamer, Grinding Gear Games are actually running a promo that is a handout to the streamers. And that is going to be the Storm of Velarco portal. So the way this is going to work is that people who go onto Twitch and then purchase 2 subscriptions, and this counts either a subscription for your own personal use or a gift subscription, which is then given out to someone else at random in the channel for a month. If you meet the requirement of purchasing 2 subscriptions to any channel that is related to Path of Exile 2, that can be mine, that can be Neversink's, who we were talking about before, or it can be anyone else you happen to enjoy, during the qualifying period, which starts on the 29th of August, 1 PM PDT, and continues until the 13th of September, 5 AM PDT, then what you'll get is the Storm of Velarco portal as a little bit of an extra bonus. So someone that occasionally streams a game and kind of gets a bit of a laugh out of people saying, hey, look at this gift to streamers that they're handing out through the purpose of running this race event that actually Sogog has got no chance of winning at all whatsoever, might run for a little bit of fun, but is going to get absolutely buried by all of the people that are much better at the game than me. This is the sort of thing that is actually a handout to me. So I'm definitely happy that Grinding Gear Games are running this. I'm not going to temper any criticisms that I've got of the patch based upon them running this promo. I will still say what I think, whether that be very positive, whether that be very negative. We'll have to see once 030 goes live. Currently I'm pretty optimistic, but I guess we'll see where exactly that goes. After that, there is a Chaos Orb Twitch badge, which is somewhat of a nothing burger. And then there is the Discord quest and the Prophecy avatar, which I've got to say I am just not that impressed with, because the fine print on this one, on the Discord aspect, is kind of a bit of a nothing burger. So it kind of wrecks everything else that's going on here. But the big news here, if you do care about MTX in general in Path of Exile 2, then you will probably be quite happy with this setup overall. Mostly, honestly, because the Clam Stash skin is awesome, at least in my opinion. You might differ. And on top of that, there is this awesome little portal. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Part 3 of the patch notes discussion. Hopefully, I will get it out tomorrow. I am massively behind because I've been a little bit sick this week. But I'm going to leave it there. May your Varlorbs have interesting results.